And here we'll start off. This is a traditional bridal sedan chair, which they use to carry brides to their weddings in. And just check this out. I mean, look at the ornateness of this. Like everything in the old world, pretty much every surface is covered. Not sure what these are. They look like mirrors, maybe. And up the top here, these look like, I don't know, candles, maybe. Candle holders, some kind of light. Not sure, but pretty cool. Of course, got a dragon here. Got lots of dragons now in China. And this building in the background is a brick building. And this is obviously one of the inhabitants. So we have this amazing piece of, art really, right? This bridal sedan chair. In the background, we have a masonry building. And this is China in the 1880s, where the story is really that it was, just, peasantry, right? But here we have this is just like a typical building. It's even got a chimney, very Western style chimney coming out of the back, which of course is brick as well. So, a lot of these buildings, they're the same underneath, but they have different facades put on them, like different types of tiles, different, these got the bamboo shades and the raw wooden pillars and things, just to give it that Chinese look. But underneath, all these old world buildings are pretty much the same. This is a shot of the Great Wall. And they tell us it's the Great Wall of China, built a couple of thousand years ago. But if you look into it, this wall seems to be about 500 or 600 years old. As you can see in this photo, it's already in pretty bad shape. There's another bit here that's fallen out, been smashed open. Down here, it's just all rubble. But what is this? The Great Wall of China? A lot of people say maybe the Great Wall of Tartaria. But there's been some good work done on it by Jason from Archaics, Martin Riedke, and Max Eigen, and they are saying that it's the Great Wall of Rome and part of the Silk Road. So go check those videos out. It's definitely, it's his story, right? None of this is what they actually tell us it is. This is very cool. This is, it just says, a bronze instrument from the Imperial Astronomical Observatory. Look at this thing. It's amazing, right? We have dragons up here wrapping its way around, some smoke coming off it. So completely ornate, again, like everything was in the old world. And, this is really the language, right? If we could read this, all this symbolism, we'd know what it is. And, maybe we can, right? You can see it's definitely a mechanical device. We've got a wheel here and a wheel in the ground that it rolls around. And this strut here, no doubt there's one on this side as well, are in these tracks so that it can move forward and back. I'm not sure how it all works, obviously, but pretty cool. And you can see it looks like you line these two wheels up somehow. Looks like there's a crosshair there, maybe. But, what was this for? Obviously, probably, 90% it was, an astronomical instrument for looking at the sky. But why was there such an emphasis on looking at the sky in the old world? Like we find these, astronomical type instruments everywhere. Not necessarily this cool, but they are everywhere, right? So what were they looking at the sky so much for? We hear it's, to obviously shipping, you would need it, to read the stars, to navigate and all this kind of stuff. But that this level, it was definitely a science, and this is covered in dragons, right? That lots of smoke, and dragons breathe fire, right? And there's been a lot of talk that they might represent plasma discharges and things like this. So is that what this language is telling us, that this is what this was tracking? The resets, basically. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And I found this shot as well. This is Peking history, 1897. Not too much more info on it, But this is the machine that we just looked at here. Okay, this is that astrological device from a different angle. As you can see, it rolls around and does things. I'm not sure how it works with all these fixed poles, but they must all move. But up here, I found this interesting. Look, we've got a whole collection of them. Obviously, all doing different things, different types of astronomical markers and things to, to plot things on. And there's a whole heap of them here. So, that we never get, taught about all of this, ancient technology doing. And look, it's still, this would be old stuff and it still looks perfect, right? Doesn't rust or anything. They use the right metals and it's still going strong, right? While everything that we built, or this, civilization we belong to, just kind of falls apart pretty quick. Okay, this is a shot of a street in Peking. And this looks very, post mudflood, right? You can see this, just dirt road, rocks everywhere. Got a guy and his horse here, or I think it's a horse. Got some people out the front, all looks wooden. No masonry to be seen here. Or, okay, that looks like a brick wall there. So again, maybe, there's masonry that's been hidden behind this, but most of what we can see is wood and it looks pretty old and shabby, right? So this is the picture we're more given of what China was like, just sort of like, peasantry, third world kind of conditions. Definitely not big buildings everywhere and paved roads, but that is what we also find in China is a lot of big old world buildings. So here I've found another picture of Peking, and this one is from 1750, and it's a view of the Peking capital of China and the superb wall which separates it from Tartary. Very interesting. So this is an alternative view of the streets of Peking. This is, like 130 years before that last photo we saw. And look at this. Big, what we see everywhere, right? Big stone walls, water flowing through the cities always, in canals and coming out. We've got all these towers here, of course, in China. They give them the pagoda type look, but it's the same thing, right? It's a big tall tower. It's got the little ball on top here. Might be mercury filled, who knows? And it's huge, right? A huge, completely built out walled city. And, like, look at this shot. That's pretty much what they told us castles were, right? But they told us castles came from Europe, Western Europe. But look at this and look at the wall at the back here. So this is probably the wall they were talking about, separating China from Tartaria. And as we saw that wall, is it really the wall of Tartary or China, or is it maybe something else? And here's another shot. This one again is the interior of the palace of the Emperor of China in Peking in 1750. And look at this. Massive courtyard, completely paved, big ornate buildings everywhere, very oversized as normal. You can see the size of the people here. I mean, the people just look like very small in this courtyard. Got the umbrellas, of course, a very Chinese thing. Archers, the king's riding around. And they look like some British lions, don't they? Very interesting. This one looks, maybe it's just bad painting because this is definitely, it's been coloured. You can see some of it's not done the best, but that's what it was looking like in 1750. And for some reason, by 1880, they were basically peasants living in the dirt. What happened? And here is another street scene, Peking, 1880s. Look at this wheel. It's very cool. And basically just horse and cart, everyone's looking at the photo. But, it's peasant type people, right, is what they look like. Now, obviously everything's ornate, but this all looks like wood. Is it covering up brick? Possibly. This looks like a brick wall, but definitely, it's looking, more third world, right? Of course, this is a black and white photo, but these aren't the grand buildings, that we see, especially in those pictures from 1750, right? This is a view of the Jade Belt Bridge in China. Check out this. I think there's one very similar to this in France. There's probably a couple of them. You see this kind of photo a lot, don't you? With the ring, the double half circles. Look at this bridge, all masonry. And look at the slope on that. I mean, very cool, but the question would be why? Like why does this, you know, very engineered, ornate masonry bridge go into a dirt road? That's a good question. Um, but why the shape? Why the height? Was there a big boat that had to go under there? Was it some kind of, viewing platform? Were they using the water as a reflection pool? Who knows? But very cool. Now, this one I find very interesting. I mean, I didn't know, there's a few more photos coming up, but I didn't really associate camels with China. And this just says a view of Spirit Way at the Imperial Tombs outside of Peking. And it says the avenue is lined with 24 animals. It doesn't call them camels, but clearly camels, right? And yet they sit down and they stand up and they sit down, stand up. Oh, actually up here, okay, we've got elephants. I didn't see those before. So it is different animals. So camels and elephants, neither of which I would have associated with China, right? I mean, we do have Indian elephants. And China's not too far, really, I guess. And they talk about the Silk Road a lot and that people were, using camels to bring stuff. So maybe they were using elephants as well. This is a view of the Forbidden City across an imperial moat. So again, 1880. Now look at this wall. It's already looking very old, isn't it? Now the water levels don't look right. We've got all these big buildings in the background, but this looks old. See, this is brick. This looks like a repair job. So this is looking very old and a bit dilapidated at this point, isn't it? That's the Forbidden City. And of course, everything in China that you put these roofs on, right? And it's Chinese. They don't have to change a lot really to make things look culturally different. But when you look at it, it's big stone buildings, a man-made canal, stone edges. That's really the same as what we see all over the realm. This is a view of the Memorial Arch at the entrance to the Ming tombs. Very cool, but again, it's just surrounded in dirt, right? Dirt paths going up there. You can see there's more rocks in the ground here, more blocks. But there's probably more of this underground. We can see some level changes here as well. But pretty cool. Can't read those signs. They almost look like astrological signs, don't they? Not sure, but there we go. This is the 17 Arch Bridge. Look at that. The largest bridge of any in the Imperial Garden. I mean, that's a lot of work is what that is. In China in the 1880s. And in the foreground here we have this bull. It's a statue. It was cast in copper in 1755. Basically, they say to stop floods and monsoons and things. And as you can see, the pedestal it's on, it's not in very good condition. It's cracking up a bit. And this bridge. So, how old is this bridge, right? This is definitely an old world bridge. If this was here in 1755, the bridge would be older. But again, how are they building this with the story that we are given about technology and the technology they had, right? horse and carts, bronze, maybe iron, chisels, and not much else, right? Rope pulleys, wooden cranes and things, but it's the engineering, right, that we're told they didn't have when clearly they did, because this is not something you set out to do just to put a bridge up. I mean, this is pretty much the hardest way you could build a bridge, but it looks really cool, right? So to the previous civilization, this probably wasn't that hard. And this is a shot of the rest of China. This is the terrain in the 19th century that travelers traveling to the Great Wall of China went through. I mean, this just looks like something's been blown up, doesn't it? It's shattered rock everywhere. And here's the Great Wall coming over the hills. I mean, and look at how they've built this, man, just up and down and over everything, right? How was that built? Here we have a couple of Buddhist monks or lamas hanging out, lama and his student, reading their books. They look like a better opportunity, maybe. I don't know. But look at this in the background. I mean, this is Buddhist. This is Indian, right? It's Shiva by the looks of it. And this is Buddha. So that's interesting, right? That they've got two different religious sort of gods here. And this is looks Chinese. So what's going on there? It says it's one of the oldest photos of religious people in China. But what's going on with all these different symbols? And then look at this. This almost looks Middle Eastern, doesn't it? This tapestry here. So I don't know. What do you think? Is that real or is that just some kind of photo opportunity? And here we have some of the camels. And these we're told they were using on the Silk Road to bring goods in, just like we saw before with the statues of the camels. This is Wan Shao Shan or Longevity Hill, the summer palace of the king. And again, look at this. It's just looking overgrown here, very old, very worn. No, but I mean, again, look at these steps. See how they go up and then across like that. We see, and up here you can see it. We see that everywhere in the old world. You even see it on the parliament buildings and things. But this is solid, big bricks, big block work, right up the hill for the King's Summer Palace. Another shot. And what do we have up here? I mean, looking pretty antiquity, right? This looks like it's got a wheel on the top of it, doesn't it? But that's looking very much like some kind of tech condensers or something. I'm not sure. And just, old world stone bridges. Why not? No technology, but let's just build this little tiny bridge out of stone just because it's so much harder. This is just a wedding portrait of two people. So they're not royalty. So this is just a guy and these are their wedding clothes, obviously. You can see, again, all the jewelry, from the old world is very similar, right? These big crown type things, tiaras, crowns, they've always got jewelry, it's always precious metals. Why are they precious, right? Gemstones, lots of dangly things hanging around. It's very similar to what the royals still wear, right? But then you look at, like the gypsies and those kind of people throughout Europe, and the same kind of look. And even the Tartarians, if you look at the traditional Tartars, their dress is very similar as well. And this is another shot. This is the grounds of the Azure Cloud Temple. And this is the back of what we saw before. But look at this place. Look how huge it is for one. Walls everywhere. Here's a stone bridge. Walls here, right up to this, which looks like an energy plant. Look at that. This looks like a big energy power plant, right? Crazy. What do you reckon? And then over here, look at this ornate temple sitting up on a mound, looking very Russian almost. With this big thing on top, which again is, you know, looks pretty techy, but that thing just looks like a power plant. And there we go, a bit of a walk through China, Peking in the 1880s. And this is what it looked like before it got taken over. You can see there's definitely an old world there that looks like it's been a drill reset of some kind. It's looking a bit disheveled, you know, mud streets, you know, lots of destruction, but all this amazing old world architecture everywhere. So thank you very much for spending some time with me. Please give me a like if you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, stay awesome. And I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.